If you want to simplify your life, my solution for you is to allow intuition to be your guide. And today I'm sharing with you simple, easy practices to deepen your intuitive channel. So let's get started.
Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a perk is to bridge both the emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever.
Welcome back to I'm Perfectly Divine podcast. I am so glad we are connected. Today, you are going to be so happy that you tuned into this episode because it's all about simple, easy ways to make life easier for you. And I keep having this mantra in my head, especially because it's summer. I need things to be easy. I just want them simple and easy. And it just reminds me that we have access to a tool within us that is there to support us, to guide us on our path and make our journeys easier. Doesn't mean everything in life will always be easy, but when we need that insight into that next step, or we need a bigger breakthrough download moment to come forward, I want to share with you how to deepen your intuitive channel. And so, first of all, let's start with what really is intuition. And I'm going to keep that very simple, where it is the sense of inner knowing. Like you have this knowing, and it's not explainable with like rational, concrete examples. It's an inner knowing. And so, some people experience this through their what's called the clairs. And the most common clairs are clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. So clairvoyance is where either you can see with your eyes, you have a vision, which is rarer, but it can happen, or you see with your third eye, in your mind's eye, images, visions, symbols, colors, something that has a representation to you that your mind can make sense of, that relates to the past, present, future. And you're able to see this and make some sort of connection out of it, make some sort of meaning from it that is true for you. Clairaudience is your ability to hear. And again, you might be able to physically hear a sound, or most people will hear their inner voice. They will hear their inner voice talking to them, and it feels different than our rational mind, our ego. There's a way that your inner voice talks to you that you can start to connect with and know that that you're being spoken to from a higher wisdom within you. Clairsentience is that ability to feel emotions, sensations, energy that is not physically present. So this is where we talk about a gut feeling and that sense of knowing. And so a lot of successful people turn to this gut feeling to make choices. I mean, this has been a documented thing that CEOs use it all the time, entrepreneurs, And of course, it's people that are very inventive. They use this as a sense of knowing of like to try a different way to bring forward this creative spark and genius through them, and they trust in that. But it's also through our emotions. So all of my strong spiritual sensitives, I mean, this is a way that you are able to tap into your intuition is through your feelings and your emotions, and you can feel what is true and right for you. Now, of course, we've been taught to not trust that. And this is where it's become very difficult for people who are emotionally sensitive because this usually happens in a household where somebody, one of your caregivers is not emotionally sensitive at all, and it makes them uncomfortable. And so your emotional sensitivity and accuracy actually gets turned on you. So we call this gaslighting, right? There's a word for it now, but before it was just like you're too sensitive, you're making this all up, blah blah blah. This is our work, and what I'm so passionate about helping emotionally sensitive people is to remember this as your power. And so it's about reclaiming this, and the more we learn to work with our emotions, the more we will enhance our intuitive abilities, and vice versa. The more we enhance our intuitive abilities, the more we can tune into our emotions as our greatest allies, and that's what they're meant to be. And so they're really just this highly attuned navigating force to help us understand when we are off course, and we need to redirect and how to do that. And so that's one of my passions of what I teach, because I'm very emotionally sensitive and clairsentient with the emotions, and can even feel other people's emotions that they don't even know exist, and that they are cut off from. And I can sense it in their bodies sometimes, but I can always feel those repressed feelings. And maybe you have some of that. There's also claircognizance, where there's just this ability to know something without knowing how or why you know it. It's just that sense of certainty that you just have this clear sense and you don't know where the information came from. You just know it. And so we are going to talk about ways to um, work with our intuition, but I would like to say play with our intuition, because it is a tool. And the more we can step into the flow of it and enjoy it and learn from it, then the less our ego will get involved and start to take ourselves too seriously and be so proud of all the intuitive abilities that we have. And instead, we can just be that receptive channel. So, in order to be that receptive channel, we can't be the people that are saying, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I got this and I got that, and da 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 da. Because just think of that energy right there. You're like, I'm on the go. And there's no room then for this slowing down enough to hear the whispers that can literally change your life. And I'm going to give a couple examples of how that has happened to me, how this is a skill. This isn't anything special about me. We all have this skill, but there have been whispers, downloads that have changed my life. And I believe to guide me towards my soul's purpose. And so our intuition is there daily to guide us and to support us and make our life easier, and to have those download moments so that we are aligned with our purpose, our magic, our gifts, our love, and so much more. So, I can't wait to share with you some of these examples, really easy examples. But I think whether you are very intuitive and you know you're intuitive, that there may just be some reminders that, again, you can play with, that you can open yourself up to, that just may give that little bit of enhancement that is supportive for you. And if you're someone who thinks, yeah, I'm just not that intuitive, I'm more logical, these are simple, simple ways that you can just start to tune into this natural ability that everyone has been given. So again, it doesn't matter if you can if you're clairvoyant and you can see through your mind's eye, or you're claircognizant and you just know something. It doesn't matter. And all really, many of these aspects tend to weave together. And so it's not getting hung up on, whether I'm good at this or bad at this. It's just there's more easily accessible ways that this higher consciousness or intelligence or wisdom that you are innately connected to is able to communicate with you and through you. And so it's just slowing ourselves down enough to tune into that to open that channel, and then once the channel is open, how to deepen with it. And I really wholeheartedly feel that this is one of my secret weapons when I'm working with people who've had long-term anxiety, is to build their intuition, because it is such a process of building our self-trust. And our anxiety wants to control things, and really loves the rational mind and to figure things out. And this process is just a simple way to start leaning into your inner knowingness. And we can, again, do so in such playful ways. And also spiritually, it's a reminder that we are not alone. We are part of this beautiful web of life. And there's so many threads and consciousness and insight and wisdom that we can slow ourselves down to be able to receive and understand and allow in. And so it's just remembering that we are divine. You are divine, and that means you are divinely guided always. And it's just our hearts may not always remember that. And intuition is a way to remember, to go into the ease and flow of consciousness that allows us to remember that we are love, and that there is also ease and flow for us. And so let's get into some ways to start to open the channel, deepen the channel. And one of the first things that comes to me is playing little games. When I worked with a spiritual coach decades ago, when I first started off with coaching, it was while I was getting my psychology degree, and I wanted this spiritual integration. She would teach me to play games like the parking spot game, and where, which direction to turn in order to find the parking spot, and just allow my intuition to guide me, allowed my intuition while driving to just randomly take different twists and turns and where it wanted to lead me. And so this is something that you can do. You can play a parking spot game. You can do all sorts of little guessing games. One of the things that used to drive my husband crazy is that he would have like the Guinness Book of Records book, and there would be all these random facts, like things there's no way that I could know. And he would just be like, well, how many barrels of oil were produced in the, I don't know, the highest producing oil country in year 2014. I mean, there's no way I would know. And I would just throw out this number, and he'd be like, oh my gosh, it's not that I'd get it spot on, but out of all the numbers, and for me not knowing anything about what he was talking about, the number that came through was always either very close or spot on. And so he would just, this is actually what made him start practicing intuition and playing along with me, when he saw how powerful it can be, when he saw that, wow, there's a way to access this information, that it's like, how do you know? And you just learn to play with it, and have the openness to be able to receive it and as well as to be wrong. And that's part of it is like, can you tune into like, oh, did I do get too caught up in my mind trying to figure it out? Or did I somehow hinder my gut response? And then you learn more about how to fine tune your your channel, right? A game that my family always plays when we're traveling or doing something is the elevator game, and there's multiple elevators. And which elevator is going to be the one that opens up? And we all take our guess. So it's just ways that you can just build this into life, and it's fun and it's playful, and it helps you, again, just fine tune the channel. Um, Another way that I think a lot of us love, and that's really simple, really, is I've got a book here, and you'll see how beat up this is. Oh my gosh, is working with numbers. And I can't even tell you how old this book is. This is Doreen Virtue's Angel Numbers. I mean, it's literally it is, yeah, it is completely worn out. I love working with numbers. The reason why I say it's simple is I think numbers, well, at least how they speak to me. First of all, how they may speak to you, it can be different. Sometimes it's through the repetition. So most of us get drawn into like 1111 because there's this repetition of the ones, right? But it could be 222, 333. And of course, as you can see how beat up my book is that I know, and right now I think most of my family knows that when there's three consecutive numbers in a row, generally what it means. Like my family knows 555. The theme of it is about transformation, right? So you can easily kind of pick up on the basics of what these numbers mean. But you might also just keep getting a number pattern that you're like, what is this about? Like it could be random, like 367, but you keep seeing it all the time. And that's an opportunity for this insight that on something that maybe you're trying to figure out in your mind that you are being guided with either reassurance or insight or understanding. And that's why I have this handy book, and I can put this in the show notes as to a way to that allows my spirit team, that's how I consider it. I've got this team of who loves me, wants what's best for me, is wiser than me, that's guiding me, and they know that that numbers is a way to communicate with me. And it's the same for you. You have a team that is there for you, that loves you, wants what's best for you, and is wiser than you and is supporting you. And so it's just saying, yeah, I'm available to this way of communicating to and through me. Another one that I love are animals, especially when animals cross your path. I think that's very significant when there's like an animal that just comes into your view. I live in a very nature spot. I'm right by Lake Michigan, and so we see daily things like rabbits and deer and turkey. But there's still times when there's something extraordinary where it feels like they're getting your attention. Hawks have been big messengers where they will like circle right by my office. Crows can do that too. So there's ways that animals stand out. I've had bumblebees that just like fly in one corner of my window, and they're like bouncing off my window to get my attention. So even if animal is common to your area, if there's something that sticks out to you where it feels like it's getting your attention, it draws you in, there's a reason for that. There's something that it's trying to communicate with you. And so, and part of my practice is always giving gratitude for these animals and nature and how it's how we're connected and how we are being communicated to if we have the ears to hear, the eyes to see, which goes into some of the the sacred texts that I've talked about previously, especially the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So, something to take in are animals when they cross your path. Recently, I was on a bike ride. I had a snake slither in front of me, and I very much honor snakes. It's a representation to me of the divine feminine. And then a few minutes later, I saw a fawn. And so we do have fawns in our neighborhood, but every time that is like, it's just so beautiful. All animals are beautiful, but it's just that extra piece of like, whoa, it draws you in, right? And so what is this communicating to us? And this is the key, whether you're the animal. Well, this leads me into another practice, which is dream interpretation and dreams. And when animals come through dreams, it's really about there are ways that you can look up what that animal symbolizes, but I think first and foremost, it's about what does that animal symbolize to you? Because these dream interpretation sites, they are wonderful. I have someone that I can recommend that is like he's devoted his life to this. But it's really that what does this person or this animal or this object mean to you? Because the dream is coming through you. It's trying to communicate through you to support you, to help you process something that it hasn't fully been processed, or to give you guidance as to your next steps. And so you want to understand what a person or thing represents to you. And then how does this experience in the dream make me feel? How am I feeling while I'm in it? How do I feel afterwards, to really help you process on a different consciousness level aspects of your life and I believe your destiny. So the expert that I would recommend on this is J.M. DeBoard, and I will put this in the show notes as well. But he goes very deep into this analysis, and yeah, so I'll just connect you with him. Now, let me take a little sip. Another one of my favorite ways of being intuitively connected are through songs. So songs sometimes just pop in your head and you have no idea why. There's usually a message to them. So especially songs where like a lyric just keeps playing over and over. It's like take in for a moment, like if you've had some sort of outstanding question or something that you're kind of chewing on, and then you hear this lyric and it's like, what is this lyric saying to me, right? And to really take that in, because sometimes there's these powerful affirming moments that can come through songs. One way that's so special to me with songs, and maybe you've experienced this too, are songs that are meant to be like love songs between two people, where they have come in and I have felt them so deeply as a connection to the divine, like that love between myself and the divine. And this comes in moments when we feel heavy or tested, or it feels so hard to take that next step. You may receive a song that's a love song, but that love song is not about two humans. It's about your divine connection and how loved you are, and being able to take in the lyrics from that lens can be so powerful. And then another way that happens for me is that I can get the lyrics a little bit messed up and that I'm playing in my head, but the lyrics in their messed up version is a message to me. Like it's guiding me to a deeper understanding. One of the recent ones was Tina Turner's We Don't Need Another Hero. And I was singing, We don't need another hero. We just need to know the way home. But that when I looked up the lyrics, it's not we just need to know the way home. It's something like we don't. And I'm like, oh no, we do. But anyways, we can mess up the lyrics a little bit, and it's not about the mess up. It's about what that shift in words, how that can have meaning for you. A deeper aha, a deeper sense of, yeah, this is the way to go, or this is, you're right on with your understanding, or so forth. And it's a way that we can be communicated to through songs, and they'll just pop up in our head, they'll pop up on the radio, and you find yourself singing along. This is an opportunity to say, what is this about for me? Okay. Um, topics, topics that keep quote unquote randomly coming up. Topics that someone's providing you with information. And especially if you hear it 3 times, this is like the ding, 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 ding. You need to check out that freebie course. You need to learn more about, I don't know, painting, whatever it is that you are listening for those, the ways in which you keep getting drawn back to something that has been kind of circulating it within your energy field. That when someone else, quote unquote, randomly brings it up, or it shows up, on a billboard, these are the ways that the universe is saying, go here. This is what's next for you. Follow this breadcrumb. And it's about being willing to act on these breadcrumbs that are leading you to uh, that next step that's going to be important for you. It may not make any rational sense, but it's being able to trust yourself that this has meaning. This keeps coming up. It's the same with books, books titles, books recommended to you. And these are ways that the universe is saying, this is going to help you with something, some form of insight, something of what is next for you to do. And again, recommendations, listen to this podcast, this book, what have you. This is something that you want to take that forward step towards. And then, of course, there are oracle cards. That these are more quick check-ins because they're easier than tarot readings. Tarot readings can be, you can go online and help to decipher the meaning of the cards, and I think you'll do okay. What I like about oracle cards and oracle decks is they tend to have a theme. I like to have multiple oracle decks because sometimes I am intuitively drawn to a certain deck based on what question I have, or where I'm looking for guidance or reassurance. I know which deck that will be the better guide given that situation. And so having multiple decks is can be very powerful, and a way to tune into, like, oh, this is something that I may not have been paying attention to, and how can I tune into this a bit more, and this message and the deeper meaning that it may have for me. And then, of course, we want to continue with our play, our creativity. Painting is such a fun way to allow what is coming through you to tap into a higher consciousness and to be expressed. And to me, it's not just the outcome of what you are creating, it is what is coming through you as you create, because there's insights that are flowing as we're in these creative states. And so allowing yourself to pay attention to your experience and be curious about some of the things that come forward as you allow yourself the space to be creative. And the big thing here is not being attached to outcome. When we create out of our own joy, we create out of our own inspiration. And it's not about how something looks in the end. It's really that I gave myself this space, and it felt honoring to myself to listen to myself, to do this regardless of the outcome, regardless if my ego is judging the painting or the creation or not. It's that I gave myself this space and I honored myself in this way. And through that, regardless if you're making a necklace and it breaks or it doesn't come together or whatever, you may have gotten the most profound insight while you were making the necklace, right? So it doesn't, it's just really honoring this creative space. And then having a spiritual or reflective journaling practice, meditation practice. I know people get up in arms about meditation, but it really is just like, what do you need to quiet your mind and allowing yourself to practice that skill? It's just a skill. And so it doesn't have to be this like complete utter silence. I mean, even with meditation, it is rarely that. It's just, can I be more in a still state? Can I allow myself some reflection? Journaling can be a beautiful way to allow your higher self or divine guidance to come through. And you can literally ask while you are journaling, what would my higher self have me do with my day today? What does my higher self want me to know about this, whatever you're journaling about? So I think it's always important to allow your ego to do its thing and spit out what's on your mind and how you're all stirred up. But then you can always ask with your journaling practice, your spiritual practice, your meditation, what does my higher self want me to know about this? And allow yourself the space for that insight to come in. And again, it may be in that moment, it may be I'm going to go for a walk in silence. I don't need my phone, I don't need music, and just to see what wants to come forward or later this day. And then paying attention to the songs, to the quote unquote random thing your mom or sister or friend said to you, right? And really allowing yourself to connect the dots like, oh, okay. This, there's kind of like this inner ping that goes off and it's like, all right, I need to pay attention to this. So this leads me then to, how do we get bigger downloads? Because I have experienced for myself, and I truly believe it is our whispers. It is the whispers within us that can change our life. And so this has happened to me. I mean, I think this happens to all of us in day-to-day ways. My two biggest profound ways was my book, Feel, Turn Your Negative Feelings into Your Greatest Allies. This was a divine download that happened for 9 months straight. And it was all about that shift from how I was relating to my emotions as an emotionally sensitive person to learning to feel them as love. And I was woken up at 4:30 in the morning every morning with a voice telling me to go to my computer and write. And I literally had no idea what this was about. I didn't know this was going to turn into a book. There was this voice. It wasn't this, trumpets or any big crazy voice. It was the voice, the same voice that says, "Hey, did you lock the front door? Hey, you gotta call your mom tomorrow. It's her birthday, whatever." It's that same voice that comes to us, and then it's, what are we going to do with it? So this voice happened almost 20 years ago now. And my twin boys were just turning one. I just got them sleeping through the night, and all I wanted to do was sleep. And here I'm getting this voice saying, get up and go to your computer and write. And I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I am so tired. I don't want to do this. But here's the thing. This is how these whispers turn into bigger downloads. Because when we have the skill of consistently saying, I'm open, and I'm going to practice this, and I'm going to play with this, and I'm available to this, and I'm willing to take action when it's uncomfortable, we are opening ourselves up to the bigger downloads, because the universe will hear that and be like, all right, she's going to take action. He's going to take action, even if they don't like it. And so that's what I did for 9 months straight. I was woken up at 4:30 a.m. every day with this voice telling me to go to my computer and write. And I don't know, maybe 6 months in, I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is a book. And it was just that sweet spot where I would write for like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, and the download would come in. I'd go back to bed for another hour before my kids were up and start my day. And so that this is how, if we're open, if we're willing to take good orders, even if our human self doesn't want to do it, then we are building this skill. The other time that these whispers came forward has been in my path to becoming a priestess, to really bringing in more of the divine feminine into my work. I think my work has always been integrated from a feminine approach, but this has gotten much deeper. And it started with this guidance that was coming through where Mary Magdalene was just calling me. And what I mean by that, I mean, I would start to get awoken in the middle of the night from Mary Magdalene, and then it turned to other goddesses, and they just kept working with me. And it led me on a path I didn't even know was a path. I didn't know what a priestess was. I didn't really know what I was doing. It was following the breadcrumbs. But when we're willing to listen to the whispers, these breadcrumbs ultimately lead us to some aspect of ourselves that we weren't even aware of, consciously aware of, that is important for our life's dharma, for fulfilling our soul's purpose. And so it's shaped my work to not just emotional empowerment, but embodiment. How do we embody these emotions with the divine feminine and the divine masculine in a way that is unified and honoring of both, and again feels embodied of our sacred selves. And so again, not about being more gifted, more spiritual. The keys are consistency. I'm going to play with my intuition. I'm going to let the universe, my guides, know that I am open to receiving. And these are the ways that I like to play, and I'm open to other ways to play, right? And then taking action. Step number two, taking action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you would rather not, because you trust that guidance, and you're willing to move forward with it, even if your rational mind is kicking and screaming. And let me tell you, on this podcast, there has been plenty of topics I did not want to address. I did not want to go there. I did not want to share this. My ego was kicking and screaming. There's no way. I'm not doing it. I'm not going there. And I'm just like, all right, it's really that in and of itself becomes a sign. It becomes a signal of our intuition is trying to come through, and the ego is having a little temper tantrum. And that is also a sign that I have come to recognize. And so even though I would rather not, my human self would rather not, I know that that is not the voice of love. And so even if it makes me uncomfortable, I'm willing to come forward, not out of any expectation, any outcome. I mean, my ego is screaming, kicking and screaming because it's creating this narrative of all the bad things that'll happen. And this inner voice, this guidance is saying, and do it anyway. Because ultimately, even if those worst case scenarios of my ego were to happen, it is to dissolve the ego's power over our truest selves, our essence, our sacred selves. And so this is always the way forward, is to be able to come forward without being attached to the outcome. And despite whatever the ego is saying, despite the fears, and the intention then is always love. And so when we come forward with love, even if things go sideways on the external in some way, you are going to feel more empowered inside because you followed the voice of love the best that you could. It's not always perfect. It's still, again, it could be come out messy in some way, but this is the strength of working with the divine feminine in your life, is that you are willing to do it even with the mess. And this is how we honor the divine feminine within us, and we will strengthen our intuition and strengthen our intuitive channel. And it's just one of those things that I believe the more you honor it, your intuition, this divine feminine voice, this aspect of the divine feminine gift that we've all been given, the more your life is going to be honored because you're willing to live from that place over your ego. And then the last key is that your psychology is attended to in a holistic manner. And what I mean by this is, in order to be able to deepen our intuitive channel, we want our mind, body, spirit, and emotion energetically to feel grounded, to feel centered. Otherwise, our internal energy is trying to attend to unprocessed emotions and spiritual aspects that aren't fully understood, or our nervous system that doesn't feel safe, and so it's in mindsets and trying to control our mind and keep a positive vibe and all these crazy things that we do to ourselves when we're not honoring our humanity and our divinity as equally important aspects to our growth journey. And so this is something that is so vital, because in our centeredness, we create that space of calm, and that says that we're open, that we have the presence to be with what comes forward. Otherwise, we'll still try to be connected to you, but you may unintentionally brush it off because there's so many other things going on internally. And so this is an aspect that I love supporting people with, and I'm going to have a free training on this called the Sacred Metamorphosis Journey, and that's going to be happening later in July. And so I really encourage you, if you are not a part of my weekly newsletter community, that you are, because I offer freebie experiences throughout the year. They're very powerful. I don't want to waste your time. I want you to experience more and more of your sacred self. And so I want to offer these experiences to help guide you in ways that I've been stuck previously, that I see commonly that people get stuck around. And so this is going to be a powerful experience, and I will include in the show notes how you can make sure you are signed up for my newsletter and that you're getting it, so that you can access that freebie experience when it comes forward. So all of this is a skill. We've got the consistency, we've got the taking action, we've got our holistic psychology being tended to in an empowered, resilient, loving way. And these are the ways that you will deepen your intuitive channel to simplify your life, to make life more magical, to help you when you're in those spaces where you're feeling down and you just aren't sure like what the next step is. This is a way to connect with the magic of life and the magic of who you innately are. So I hope this supports you, and I hope you remember that you are always connected in ways that your mind cannot comprehend, but that there is so much power for you to be able to access. So please know that there is nothing for you to prove, nothing for you to fix. It's just your path to remember. Remember all of who you are, the love of who you are. And until next time, please take care.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.